Hey friends, happy Monday, the 10th of July. Nice to be with you. I'm Father Bill Hill, pastor at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'm going to give you a reflection based on the daily readings, Monday of the 13th week of Ordinary Time. The readings are linked down below. Click the link, read the readings prayerfully, and then turn off the screen, spend some time with God before you move on to other things. We are working on the book of Genesis and the Gospel of Matthew today. So we've been hearing of the patriarchs in the book of Genesis, Abraham, Isaac, and now we're into Jacob. The book of Genesis is going to end with the death of Jacob and his family going into Egypt to escape a famine. And then, of course, we pick that up in the book of Exodus. But, there are two parts of the book of Genesis. The prehistory stuff, the first 11 chapters, origin sorts of stuff, creation, heaven and earth, and the land, and origin stuff, and then the stories of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. So now we are into Jacob. We have a story of origin, the shrine at Bethel. And I think that we had an origin story for Bethel last week as well with Abraham, but now we pick up Jacob. And I'm not great on a lot of Old Testament geography, but my understanding of Bethel, you know that there were two kingdoms, right? And that in King David, they were together. And then Solomon, his son, they split. And you had the southern kingdom, which was primarily Judah, one of the tribes, and Benjamin. Then you had the northern kingdom, which was the other 10 tribes of Israel. And in the southern kingdom was ruled by the house of David, and the capital was Jerusalem. The northern kingdom, the capital was Samaria, and there were two royal shrines in the northern kingdom. There was Dan in the far north, and there was Bethel in the far south. That was where worship happened in Israel, which is the name of the northern kingdom. So we hear here an origin story that's associating Jacob with the shrine at Bethel, that this place is in particular a blessed and sacred place. It's a connection to the divine. So that's a bit of an etiology story. What especially attracts my attention, certainly, there are two things probably, but certainly you hear God speak promises of blessing to Jacob as well, akin to what we were working with last week with Abraham and Sarah. And so this is, again, the desire of God to be full of blessings. But the other thing that you want to pay attention to is that we hear, in you and your descendants, all the nations of the earth shall find blessing. So be mindful, this is God's blessing upon a household. It's not yet tribes, it's not yet a nation. It is a family, a household. But in this household, this seed, God's going to bless every single nation on the face of the planet. Goodness is already there. And it's that reminder that we want to create the walls that say, this is God's, chosen people. This is the elect, and everybody on the outside, hellbound, damned. God's will is the goodness of all people. God created everything. God desires all things to come back together into Jesus Christ. And we hear that, right? All of the nations of the earth are going to be blessed through the family of Jacob and through the faith that they are expressing. You might want to just sit with a bit of that mystery of God who desires to bless every nation. The other thing that I found was just really glorious. Jacob asks for God's blessings on his journey. And what does he ask for? He asks for food and clothing. And so long as he has those, he's going to come back and he's going to dedicate a shrine at Bethel. How utterly different that is from us, right? You might want to spend a little bit of time in praying into that question of wants and needs and the ways that we might be putting too much into what we expect and asking that God would kind of decrease and ramp back a little bit of our own expectations of what it means to be blessed. Gospel of Matthew, we hear about a healing and a raising. And so Jesus heals a woman who's had hemorrhages for 12 years and then raises up this little girl. It's a good reminder to us that the desire of God, the will of God, is for health and healing. Obviously, sometimes this comes to us in the abundant age of eternity, right? But perhaps you might just pray into your own questions of healing, transformation, newness of life, asking that the Lord might help you. Remember, we as Americans can be very focused on a narrow band of like physical material well-being, right? But spiritual grace, transformation of heart and mind, can oftentimes be the plan and the project of God. What sort of healing do we turn to the Lord and ask for today? All right. Happy Monday, y'all. Read those readings prayerfully and then turn off the screen. Spend some time with God. Pray for folks that are having a hard time. God bless.